Hi there, it's Hannah the Artisan Duck and I'm back today with another seed bead tutorial. I know last week I did like a trio of seed bead bracelets, but I thought of another one that I made myself a little while ago, and it's this really cute daisy chain style bracelet. It's a bead weaving tutorial. I'm using size 11 seed beads and it's really simple. So let's get beading. I've got myself a selection of size 11 seed beads ready. I have this lovely buttery yellow, a white, and then a green, and this is just what I had in my stash. And then I got myself a beading needle and some thread, and this is a super long length of thread. It's about 60 inches long, so it's really long. We're going to start beading at the very top of the bracelet, the green loop where we're going to attach our jump ring to. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up 5 green beads, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 of my green seed beads, and I'm going to go ahead then and pick up just 1 white seed bead as well. And this 1 white bead will be one of our flower petals in the next step. So I'm just going to take those down my thread, and I'm going to leave a really good tail thread, about 10 inches, something like that, so I can weave that in at the end. So once I've done that, I'm going to take my needle back through all these beads again, and we're going to start at the bottom with the green and just go through all of them so that I'm exiting out of that white bead again. So I'm just going to keep going through. And by going through these green beads a second time, you're helping to form that loop, but you're also strengthening the loop because you've got double the thickness of your beading thread. I'm just going to go through that white again, like that. And there you've got the loop ready for the jump ring at the end. And we're now ready to start building our flowers off this white petal. If this tail thread annoys you, because it's pulling that white bead in a strange direction, you could just take that thread and just take it through the white bead. It should fit through. It's too tricky. Might need to use a needle, but at this point the beads shouldn't be too sort of tight with the thread. There we go. You can see now that's really helping that loop sit nicely and that white bead sit in a good position. We are ready to build our first flower now. Each flower has got 6 petals, so this white bead here is 1 petal. So you're going to go ahead and pick up 5 more beads on your needle, and we're going to take the needle through this white bead again. So this is my tail thread coming out here. This is my working thread. So we're going in the opposite direction to sort of where we exited from. And we're going to pull through. And that's going to make those beads sit in a sort of a circle like that. We're then going to go ahead and pick up our yellow centre for that flower. So there's my yellow bead. I'm just going to take that down the needle so that it sits in the middle of the flower, like that. And you can see we're exiting out at the top here on this side. I like to sort of crisscross around at this point. So I'm going to find the white bead directly opposite, which is this one here. And I'm going to take my needle through that bead and pull. There you go. It's going to sort of make that bead sit in the middle. And then I'm going to go back up through that bead and pull again, like so. And I'm also going to go back through that white bead at the top again, but sort of opposite to where we originally came from, and pull through. And now we've formed our first little daisy shape. So to continue, we're just going to take our needle through the next 2 white beads along like that. And then we're going to go through this bottom white bead again. So the one that we attached that yellow bead to, and pull. Like that. And we're now ready to add our little green loop for that sort of section between the flower petals. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up 6 of my green seed beads. So there's 6 of my green beads, and now we're going to go ahead and pick up 1 white bead followed by another 6 green beads. So your needle should look something like that now. So I'm going to pull that down, and I'm going to take my needle into the white bead that we exited out again, but we're going to go in from the opposite side. So we're exiting out here, we're going to go in on the opposite side, and we're just going to create that loop again with the beading. There we go. So we've got that loop, and now we need to work our way down to the end here so that we can continue adding on our beading. So I'm just going to take my needle through the green beads that's on the side that we're exiting from. So just all of them, like so. And we need to have it so that we are exiting out the white bead at the bottom. So there we are now, exiting out that white bead, and that is the first petal in our next flower. So I've gone ahead, I've picked up 5 more beads on my needle, and I'm just going to take my needle back into the white bead, but on the opposite side from where we exited, and pull through like that. And now we are ready to add the yellow centre for this flower. So I've picked up my yellow bead, and we're literally just going to carry on doing exactly as we did last time. I'm going to take my needle into the white bead directly opposite and pull. Pop that yellow bead in the middle, and then I'm going to go back up through the yellow bead and pull through. Just make sure that thread sits on the right side, and I'm going to go in again. You can obviously pull your threads to tighten it, but usually by the time you finish this move, the threads tend to have tightened up on their own. There we go, and our second flower is complete. So we're just going to work our way along again through the outer edge of the beadwork so that we're exiting out this white bead here at the bottom. There we go, so we've got 2 flowers in place. We're just going to go ahead now and pick up our green beads for the sides. There we go, I've got my green beads and my white bead added. We're going to take the needle into that same white bead on that last flower and pull through. Like that. We are going to take the needle down through the green, all through those green, all again, just on this one side though. Like that. I'm going to continue through there. And then I'm going to go through that white bead at the bottom. There we go. And now you're ready to continue beading your next flower, and you just repeat that step all the way down until you've got the length that you need. So you're going to need to leave about an inch so from your finished length, so you've got room to add your clasp and some jump rings. But yeah, you're just going to keep on going, and I shall come back to you when I've done that. So I've added the last flower on my bracelet, and this is 12 flowers, and it'll make a bracelet that's roughly 7.25 inches long. And I've made sure to exit out the end of the flower there at the top so that we can continue to add the loop for the jump ring to go onto. So I've just gone ahead and picked up 5 seed beads in green on my needle, and I'm just going to go through that top bead again to make a loop like that, and then I'm going to go through that loop again just to reinforce it and help those beads sit a little bit better. So just going through those 2 and another 2, and I'm going to go through that white again and pull it nice and tight just to tighten all that thread up like that. And there we go, there's our loop for our jump ring, and now we're ready to tie our knots. So I'm just going to take my needle through these 2 white beads at the side, and I'm going to work my way sort of down through the bracelet, tying knots all the way down. I'm going to go into that petal at the bottom there and pull through, and then I'm going to go down the side. I'm just going to go through 2 of those for a minute and pull. I'm going to go ahead now and tie my first knot. So I'm going to take my needle under the thread that's going between those beads and pull, make a little loop, take my needle through the loop, pull through and pull to tighten, and then just go down through the beads so that knot disappears into the beadwork. I might tie another one just down here, and I'm literally just going to keep tying little knots. You can do double knots if you would like, so there's plenty of room in these beads, so I could go ahead and do that twice along this thread. And every time you pass through these beads and tie your knots, you're strengthening your bracelet up. So I'm going to continue with this. I'm just going to keep on working my way through the bracelet, tying the knots, and then I will do exactly the same thing with my tail thread. Just work my way through the beading, tying knots, and when you're happy with how many knots you've tied, you can just go ahead and cut off the excess thread. There we go, I've tied off all that thread and cut off the excess, and now we just need to add the clasp. So I've got 2 jump rings and my clasp, and then a further 2 jump rings to finish off the other side. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the jump ring, and I'm just going to open it up like that and pop this onto one of my beaded ends like that. So I'm going to go ahead and close that jump ring up like that. I'm going to go ahead and open another jump ring. This time I'm going to put my clasp on like that, and then I'm going to bring in my bracelet and attach that on as well, and do that back up like that. And it just means now by doing the double jump ring like that, it means the clasp is lying in line with the rest of the bracelet. And then on the other end, I'm just going to pick up a jump ring and open it like so. I'm going to put on a second jump ring just so that we can attach the bracelet together easier. I'm going to pop the jump ring on the beaded loop and close that up like that. There we go. And there is our finished daisy chain bracelet. I really hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you again next time. Bye.